Hi everybody, hope you're well. The subject today is all about should dogs be allowed up on the couch or the bed, and we're looking at it from the point of separation or dependency based behaviours. This is a really good video, lots of interesting stuff to talk about. Hi, I'm Claude from K9IQ, the home of science-based factual information on dog training. If you're a regular visitor to my YouTube channel, really appreciate your support. A huge thank you. If you're new to the channel and want to strengthen your existing relationship with your dog, or you've got a new dog and you want to know how to get the best out of it, hit the subscribe button, but more importantly, hit the bell notification. That way you don't miss out on any new content. So the topic today is all about should dogs be allowed up on the couch or for that matter the bed. Now we'll be looking at it from a separation related behaviour point of view. So before we get too far into it, we need to understand that firstly, separation or dependency based behaviours is perfectly normal for dogs. Dogs are pack animals, so they're driven from day one to be in and around the pack. So you get a lot of misinformation on the internet about saying that we create separation problems in our dogs. We actually don't. Every single dog is born with separation issues, and what we do in our day-to-day life either makes those separation issues worse or it makes those separation issues manageable going forward. And one of the main contributors to separation issues is how we let the dogs interact with furniture and how we let the dogs interact with us on a day-to-day basis, because giving them access to us unconditionally tends to promote a lot more separation issues than trying to get the dogs independent. In order to understand the impact of separation issues and pack-related behaviour, we need to take a step back and look at the role of odour with regards to how dogs behave. Now, it could be argued that everything that a dog does in life has got some kind of foundation in odour or scent. I'm a scent detection dog trainer, so effectively I understand how the dogs look at odour as a way of getting information from the environment. You know better than I do, if you take your dog for a walk, its nose is consistently on the ground or trying to find information from different things. And what we need to try and do is understand the role of that in dependency behaviours or disorders that lead to separation issues. And believe me, there's a lot of things that we do in our day-to-day life with our dogs that promote odour and introduce a stronger connection with odour and separation issues. And what I'll try and do in the context of this video is explain how we can release that a little bit or undo it to make the dogs a bit more stable and safe. So now that we understand the role of odour in dogs' behaviour in general, we need to look at it in the context of day-to-day life with us. And effectively, the two biggest scent pools of human odour in the house is the bed and the couch. The bed potentially the most, simply because we spend the most amount of time there, and the second one is definitely the couch because we're on and off it completely. The amount of skin cells that we shed on a day-to-day basis is quite horrific when we think about it, and the amount that we actually shed on beds and couches is quite high. So dogs will naturally gravitate to that. Dogs will also naturally gravitate to things that smell of us: shoes, socks, laundry, hampers. And you'll also find that if you've got a dog with separation-related behaviour, it might also mark or urinate on certain bits of furniture to get your attention, or that's the place that actually strikes the intensity of that behaviour more than anywhere else, which is why dogs usually mark on the bed, which is not a really cool thing. So if that doesn't deter you from actually having your dog on that bed, then we need to look at other reasons. But effectively, we need to look at why these two elements or these two bits of furniture contribute to so much separation issue for dogs going forward. First one is the bed, and we need to understand the role of the bed in terms of psychological well-being for a dog or psychological stress. Now, dogs, like humans, go into a particular environment and feel a particular way. Like us, we go to the dentist, we feel a particular way. You go out for a breakfast at a coffee shop, you feel a particular way. You go to the football or the gym and you feel a particular way. Dogs would go into the bedroom and look at the bed and understand that when we're on this bed, we're there for a long time and it's quite passive because we're all asleep and it's all relaxing. So they associate the bed as a place of long-term connection, which is why dogs and puppies, they sleep all over each other, so it's a normal pack-related thing. But the strong odour component reinforces that pack structure and reinforces the dependency. So unless we target that, the more we let the dog sleep on our bed, the worse the problem gets, because it progresses that dependency even further. If we then introduce something else like playing with the dog on that bed or introduce food on that bed, then we're adding more intensity to a behaviour that the dog would find already interesting. So combining multiple different activities with the dog on that bed is again a potential problem going forward. The couch, on the other hand, because we're not there for such a long defined period of time, has got slightly different connotations to a dog. There's a passive component because yes, we go to sit on the couch to watch a television movie, so we might be there for 2 hours or so, and the dog tends to lie down and has a bit of a rest, so there's a passive component. A lot of us actually play with our dogs on the couch, so there's now an active component. So the dog associates being on the couch with human odour and play, so that's a pretty strong connection. And then some of us actually eat food on the couch, so now we've got a food component which has got a whole other series of connections to separation and dependency disorders and potential resource guarding. We've got a passive component and an active component. So the couch is this quite dynamic situation that potentially is a ticking time bomb. It's also a place that when people visit our house, they go and sit. Now, if your dog has got resource guarding issues, it's more likely to be potentially showing resource guarding issues in and around the couch. So some people might be able to get the dog off the couch if it's actually been there for a while, or a visitor turns up and the dog might be growling because it doesn't want the visitor next to it because it effectively owns access to that couch. So there's a lot of reasons why being on couches is detrimental, not only from a pack or separation related point of view, but if your dog has got potential resource guarding issues, there may be an element that produces further complication. So how do we move forward? How do we get the dog to interact with us on a day-to-day basis and deal with the separation issues, yet give it the connection that it actually craves because we bought a dog and we just don't want a dog to be outside the whole time? The simple solution to that is to get the dog to understand that it can be with us in every different room that we're in or different environment that we're in, but it needs to have access to things that smell less of us and more of itself, which is why training the dog to be on its bed is a really cool thing to do, because not only does it understand that this bed that it effectively owns and it smells predominantly of itself is included in all of the different environments that we're in, and it's a good, safe place for the dog to go. So the first thing to try and get the dog to love being on its bed and have that bed in lots of different environments is a really cool starting point. If we then want to make it significantly better, is to then, when the dog takes itself to the bed and it lies down and it rests and has a bit of sleep, if we then get up and go over and give the dog amazing interaction and amazing affection and make it feel really good, strengthens the dog's independence and strengthens the dog's ability to actually be away from what smells of us and understand that it doesn't need to follow us or be on things that relate to us to get our attention. And it's a really cool way to have a good interaction with your dog. The other reason why it's good to get dogs independent and actually start to be on their beds or on their mats is if you've watched my video on introducing your dog to a new baby, you will understand from it that we're trying to get the dogs to be comfortable in an environment that's away from the human odor component, so that when a baby does turn up, it's already comfortable being on its mat, and that mat can be located in lots of different environments as a transition point. So if your dog has got remote resource guarding issues with the couch or the bed, and then a baby turns up, we have potential problems. If we've already got the dog well and truly off the furniture and on its own environment, then we've got less opportunities for a problem down the track, and the dog benefits from that independence training, and it actually makes your integration of the baby a lot safer. So in summary, guys, the whole video today was to try and explain to everybody the importance of odor in the context of separation issues, and how if we want a dog to be independent and not have too much of a dependency issue going forward, which is very, very hard to manage once it becomes really serious, is to try and get the dogs off furniture as quickly as we can, simply because of the odor component, and try and get them to be on their mats or on their beds, but still in the same vicinity as us. Yes, there are going to be a lot of people that still want their dogs on furniture, and I don't have a problem with that, provided that you know what potentially will happen if we go down that path. Thanks again for listening, guys. Really appreciate your continued support. Hope you found the video useful. So did you like the content? If so, please hit the subscribe, like and share button, and don't forget to hit the bell button for future notifications of any new videos. Thanks for watching.